Hello, my name's Eric. I've played VRChat since 2019, and in that time I've made tons of close friends, had countless incredible experiences, and found a community that makes me feel like I belong here. But one problem I've noticed with VRChat is that in a game as vast as this, it's really hard to find the community that's right for you. A lot of new players will join and not really know where to go without someone to guide them, and so in that spirit, and especially knowing that a lot of new players join for the first time on New Year's, this video is a 10-minute crash course on getting into VRChat. I do want to mention out of the gate that this video is not definitive, as it could easily become outdated over time, and because I originally made this to submit into VRChat's New Year's 2025 livestream, it could only be 10 minutes long, so I can't be as thorough as I'd want to. My ultimate goal with this is to just introduce you to the basics, and then hopefully point you in a direction that's right for you. But with all that being said, let's get into it. So let's go over some recommended settings first. First off, personal space. This is on by default for new players, and it keeps people who are a little too close to you from showing up on your end. Most people turn this feature off, since something like hugging another player isn't possible with it on, but there's no harm in leaving it on if you prefer it. Next, avatar culling. If you're in a world instance with a lot of people in it, your game performance may suffer as a result, and you can use avatar culling to hide avatars from your view, either hiding beyond a certain radius or by only showing the closest number of people. There's also allow untrusted URLs. This is off by default, but a lot of worlds and assets recommend turning this on. Basically, by default, VRChat will only load in content, like videos or images, from certain websites, and allow untrusted URLs makes it so VRChat will load links from any site. Next, let's talk about statuses and world instance types. Statuses are for indicating your activity in VRChat, similar to other sites like Discord. Online is green and the standard, people can see where you are and they can join you. Join Me auto-accepts join requests if the instance is not public. More on instances in a second. Ask Me is orange, your location is hidden to others, but people can still send requests to join you. Do Not Disturb is red, and it prevents anyone from being able to see where you are or join on you. Next, world instances. An instance is basically a specific version of a world. Think of it kind of like separate rooms at a hotel, but if the hotel was infinite with identical rooms. There's several different instance types starting with public, which anyone can join. Group public instances are like publics, but they're run by a specific group who has the ability to moderate the instance. A group is a community focused around a specific thing, and I'll get more into that in a second. There's also private instances, starting with group instances, where you have to be part of a specific group to enter. Similarly, there's friends instances, where you have to be friends with everyone in the instance, and Friends Plus, which is the most common instance type by far. Basically, you can get in if at least one of your friends is already there. Group Plus instances work the same, but with groups. You can get in if you're part of the group, or if one of your friends is there. And finally, there's Invite, where you need to manually invite people to join, and Invite Plus, where anyone in the instance can manually invite others. Now, you might be struggling to find an avatar that looks right for you. A trend I've noticed is that a lot of new users will default to a pop culture character they like, and over time find something more in line with how they'd like to express themselves, before ultimately making a custom avatar that's just for them. If you'd like to shop around for a new look, a great place to go is an avatar search world like Prismix. You can search for whatever style sounds good to you, or if you'd like something more specific, such as a different variant of a base model, such as a Nova Beast. It's recommended to keep your avatar performance ranking to medium or better when in an instance with a lot of people in it, and a lot of clubs and events will have rules asking people to wear optimized avatars in order to improve everyone's performance. So in preparation for this video, I put together a survey to ask what advice enthusiast players would have for new users, and one of the most common answers I got by far was to avoid public instances entirely. While publics can be decent, they're often filled with trolls and other unsavory individuals, and it's often just not worth the hassle. As of writing, VRChat is set to launch a new age verification program, which should help a lot with this, but since it's not out yet, we won't be focusing on that. Finding a group public or group plus instance can often lead to a much better experience, since they tend to be moderated and have rules against things like harassment. But what kind of groups should you join? Well, I have a list. If you like music, there's a huge DJ and clubbing scene in VRChat. Tons of different events going on pretty much every day. There's a lot of different groups here, so my recommendation is going to vrc.tl in your web browser to bring up a live timeline of events. But which one should you go to? Whichever one sounds good to you. There's events for all sorts of genres, from drum and bass to disco, so you're sure to find the one that's right for you. My personal recommendation is the events held by Beat Syndicate, since they're full of lovely people who are just there to have a good time. And hey, if you see me there, feel free to say hi. Do you like anime and Japanese culture? There's a huge Japanese player base here in VRChat, all creating their own worlds and experiences, and the best way to see it all is through VR Japan tours. They offer guided tours through various Japanese VRChat worlds, showing off Japan's vibrant culture and customs. And if that's not enough for you, twice a year is one of the biggest events in all of VRChat, Virtual Market. It's a ginormous bazaar where creators from around the world set up booths to sell their virtual wares, all within gorgeous themed venues. Even if you're not there to shop, it's still tons of fun to explore and experience a different side of VRChat. VRChat is considered a safe space for LGBT communities, and nowhere is that more true than at the VRChat Trans Academy. This 503c nonprofit organization provides a welcome and inclusive space for all, including many weekly social and music events, as well as other resources such as voice training classes. Whether you're transgender yourself or just an ally, all are welcome. Consider yourself a creature of the furry variety? Then consider the Furry Hideout, Fur Hub, and Furality. These communities are welcoming, well-moderated, and full of like-minded furs to hang out with. They'll also help you find the furry avatar species that's right for you. Furality even hosts their own full-on furry convention in VRChat, which I got to go to this year and had a wonderful time. Their next one's scheduled for June 2025, with no theme announced just yet, but hit up their socials if you want to stay up to date. If none of those fit you, don't fret. Project Community is here to help. Their goal is to bring the VRChat community together and introduce people to all sorts of communities in VRChat, primarily through their yearly PJKT Fest. It's like a fair where all sorts of communities set up booths to show off what they're about and to recruit new members. I'd highly recommend checking out the PJKT 2024 and 2023 worlds to find one that's right for you. Also, I just want to mention, if you're watching this during the live stream, then look around you. See all those posters on the walls? Each one of those has a code on it that will let you join their group. So if one of them looks interesting to you, then check them out. I'm sure they'd love to have you. I'd also like to talk about worlds themselves. There's literally thousands of worlds to see in VRChat, and there's more than just hangout spaces. There's everything from games, to museums, to immersive art exhibits, to even just walk-in memes. Ever wanted to step into your favorite video game? Build with Legos at minifigure scale? Just relax and take in the atmosphere. You can find all those and more here. Just look around and you'll find cool places to go to. A good starting point is the Spotlight tab in the World menu, which has a ton of really good picks. From there, you can click on the world creator's profile to see what other worlds they've made, and you can also check other people's profiles since many enthusiast users will have their favorites list publicly accessible. For example, mine. You can check out my profile if you'd like, and see my favorites list if you want a good starting point. It has a lot of really good hidden gems in there. So before I go, I'd like to drop a whole bunch of additional information on you, stuff I didn't have time to cover here. First, if you'd like to watch this video again, you can find it at youtube.com/@EricBazinga. In the description of that video, you'll find some additional links, most notably a playlist of other videos about VRChat, if you'd like some more information on this stuff. More info on the rave scene or the furry community, maybe you'd like to learn about the history of VRChat. My main recommendations would be this one about general friend-making tips, and this one about supplemental programs you can use like PlaySpace Mover. There's also information in there about more advanced topics like making your own custom avatars, which fell outside of the scope of this video but was something I still wanted to talk about. Oh, and one last thing. Thank you to everyone I've met over the past year. I've spent a lot of 2024 in VRChat, exploring and meeting new people, and a lot of those people have turned into friends that I'm grateful to have in my life. Thank you to everyone who filled out the survey. I have everyone's names right here. And thank you for watching. Here's to an even better 2025.